Hi, Capricorn. You're becoming more aware of your body. The season of Gemini season might be really slow for you at first, and it's kind of necessary. The feminine side of you, because your sign is very feminine, being an earth sign, it wants to make itself known even more. And if you're always like running around and doing, then how can it make itself known, even to you? So, see, it's not that things are moving slow. Things are moving slow. Things move slowly depending on how you're looking at it. Because things aren't really moving slow at all. But if you haven't stopped to take a look, now is your chance. Because if not, I feel like you could hurt your body at some point. The body is just very prominent right now in your reading. And this month, your body is talking to you. And you could be really stubborn about something that's really not helpful or beneficial, especially for your health. Saturn is in retrograde, so that's where the stubbornness comes from. But also it's like showing up to for you to recognize it, because this when you take a moment, whenever you decide to take that moment, you will realize that the feeling of abundance can only be felt when you allow yourself to sit back and realize everything that you've created, everything that you've done, all of what you worked for, all of that you've been learning. And now this filtering process it's like that time of the end where things are trickling out, and the shedding comes to an end. And even as I said that, my body relaxed. I'll take this one too. Guided by the twos. So what you may notice is that the relief, and you finally let your body take control of your mind and let it decide and do what it's supposed to do, then this Mars, or this can be very overpowering, stubborn figure, realizes what stops him from moving forward, because essentially we live out of how we feel and how our body's feeling. So like especially if you haven't learned to cope with it. So what's going on with you is that what allows you to step outside is to let down those reins. And that's what the retrograde is bringing up for you, is like all that hard work that you've done, and allowing yourself to reflect and understand what's helpful, what's not. And if you're in the middle of this, it's just like, if there's an Aries in your life and you know Aries very well, you guys have a very similar vibe in some ways, but this one's about you just like going for it. Like it's like sitting back, recognizing, and then like really going for it. Going and realizing that what's been stopping you is actually being stubborn in this way. And now that you're not being stubborn in this way, you actually have gotten out of your own way, and your head becomes clearer, especially by the end of the month. Cards. Move the flower. Lots of cards. When you let go of this, you realize that there's still more out there. There'll always be, but now you know the quicker way. you learn something that Gemini understands. You're gaining some cool insight, Gemini insight. But that also you understand when you're not putting so much pressure or emphasis, when you're actually like having fun and playing, as well as being that, you know, strong, dominant figure that you like to be. And this only shows you very clearly the faster, easier way to get where you want to go. And it makes you realize that you don't have to fight so hard, that you don't have to push yourself so hard in certain ways because of what you've seen or what you've learned. That cycle is coming to an end, and it might have you might have some grievances about it because it seemed so right. It seemed like the right way to go, the right thing to do, but now it's not. So when this all starts to happen, sometimes people like that high comes that low, but really the high and the low are very similar. And here you get to experience like the full human effect and having this moment of closure, even, especially with the system that was put in place, and now you're learning a system that's different and honestly more effective. And you see that, and you can see it really clearly too, especially for your own life. And if there's a Libra in your life, then whatever has transpired, whatever your relationship is, it's very obvious to you now that you did everything that you could do, and really it's out of your hands, ultimately. And you might actually, because it's Mercury retrograde, you might feel like reaching out to this person. And to be honest, I don't know if that's the best case scenario. I think it will go fine if you're not wanting anything more than just like checking in. As long as that's all that it is, cool. But other than that, don't do more damage where damage has already been done. Even if you think that you can make things better, that's not always up to you, which is also a Libra thing too. So, yeah, quickly you realize your dreams, but it's just like being that in between of like, do I go? I don't know. I don't know. It's like this constant like pivot. And then you're like, oh, right? Something changes, something shifts. Yeah, there's something unlocked. The season comes out, it may even come out of nowhere, to be honest with you. It's probably the eclipses. But then also the retrogrades really having you reflect and take a seat in that space and recognizing all that you've done and all that you've accomplished. But how do you want to put that into action, all of that energy? You can be boastful. You can be prideful. But ask yourself, is that helpful to get you to where you want to go? Or do you put it in that direction? Do you put it in learning where to use that energy wisely, and it connects and things move quickly, and also recognizing who understands that about you as well. So yeah, some good shit. And yeah, your body, I just feel like your body's going to feel incredible. You're going to feel like so yourself in the best way, which is like I'm saying to quite a few signs, but it's like Gemini season really does this beautiful thing of understanding like the needs, not even the needs, but like the the communication and how to communicate, how to get the signs to communicate to themselves first. And it's really cool. I love it. And I love you. And we'll look at the cards. And I'll have the extended up after, which is usually like 15 to 20 minutes. It's on Patreon where we get deeper into it. We clarify a lot more. And there's a lot of cards that came out for you guys. And so like resolution. And also, if you want to book with me one-on-one, my information will be below as well. Okay? Happy Gemini season, and I will see you soon. Hi Capricorn. If you wanted a play-by-play, here is one. So the stubbornness that you have kind of comes to a crumble this month because just this overpouring, it also will help increase this overpouring amount of abundance happening, but also love. It's just time to be genuine with your love and not just give love in a way that makes you feel more powerful. That makes sense, and I know. It's just really important. And to slow down, to acknowledge everything, to acknowledge the growth, to acknowledge and take a different view of what's happening in your life. So if you notice here, also 2 10s and then 5s, another 5 over here, 2s, 10s, and 5s, just lots of doubles. So you might have a lot of synchronistic events that will, or karma is going to come really quickly, but I think it's more synchronistic events. It's more like you're given the opportunity to really have some alone time in a way that you've needed it. And also it could be just out of your element, which is really helpful. And then you realize that you actually need to do that more often than not. It's an Aries quality that could be very beneficial. Again, that stubbornness though, it's about allowing yourself to know when it's helpful and know when it's not. And then here we have the 2 10s between this. Anything you're in a rush to get to will only seem farther away. So it's that patience and that allowing yourself to really see what you're building and see how you've accomplished things and realize like you're already there. Maybe not where you might want to be externally and in the physical world, but you're getting there and you're creating it and it's happening. So there's like not much to do this month except for reflect and really express things genuinely and for no other reason. Other than that, it's kind of quiet and internal, and especially during the eclipse in betweens. And they're also just the situation with that Libra just might come up and might come to a close, and you have time to kind of feel about it because you realize it's what's remained stuck, and it's this like internal battle you might be having. If there isn't a Libra in your life, it's this going back and forth between what feels right, and that will shed light on this. It's also like the shedding light upon what you're being stubborn about. There's a very like a silk thread there. It's very connected. So yes, and through this all, you begin to plan your future without even realizing it by making certain decisions and switching different ways of doing things if that's what you want to do. If not, you will just be caught up in your head all month. So take action in ways that are necessary and needed and helpful for you. Other than that, it's beauty. As always, maybe get outside too. Yeah, maybe get outside too. Okay, so breathe. There's the extended will come up right after, which will go through the cards more in depth. It's probably like 15 to 20 minutes. That'll be on Patreon. That's the link there. And then there's a link to work with me one-on-one. All right, Capricorn, see you next month.